Good afternoon. I'm Kylie Crocus.
I'm Brendan Doherty, and this is the Voice of Duquesne Live. Now in sports. This past week, the Duquesne swimming and diving team competed at the A-10 Championships in Hampton, Virginia. The Dukes placed third overall, only finishing behind George Washington and Richmond and earning 10 medals. This marks the 12th straight year Duquesne has finished top 4 in the A-10 standings. Standouts in this competition were Sierra Snow, who won gold in the 500-yard freestyle and the 200-yard backstroke, and sophomore Ashley Friel, who won gold in the 100-yard butterfly. The Dukes also claimed a gold medal in the 800-yard freestyle relay. Coach David Sheets said after the game, "We had a lot of great swims, and I'm proud of how the ladies stuck together and supported each other through all 4 days."
This weekend, the Duquesne men's and women's tennis team faced off against Niagara and Youngstown State. The men's team put up a dominant performance against Niagara, going 7-0 and only losing 2 sets the entire match. The Dukes wouldn't be able to repeat that performance the next game against Youngstown State, as they would lose 4-0. The loss moved the Dukes' record to 3-4 on the season. The women's tennis team dropped a close game to Niagara on Friday. The game was tense, with all the singles matches needing a third set, but Niagara was able to squeeze out a 4-3 win. The team then traveled to Youngstown to take on the Youngstown State Penguins. Duquesne struggled throughout the game, as a lone singles win by Tasia Yakunina was the only point. Duquesne could then manage losing 6-1 and dropping to 3-7 on the season. The teams will hope to regain form as they take on Bucknell this Saturday.
The number 7 Duquesne acrobatic and tumbling team fell to number 9 Gannon on Friday night by a final score of 260 to 255. The Dukes had a lead by less than 1 point at the half, winning 2 of their first 3 events. The Golden Knights swept the second half events, leading them to victory. Duquesne tied its program best in compulsory to open the meet with 37.1 points, highlighted by a program high 9.65 in compulsory acro and a matched high of 9.75 in compulsory toss. All 3 pyramid heats scored 9.6 or better, leading the Dukes to a program record 29 points in the event. It wouldn't be enough for a victory. The Dukes return home next Wednesday, March 4th, to face Azusa Pacific at 6 p.m. Admission to all meets is free.
The Duquesne golf team kicked off their spring season at the Space Coast Classic in Melbourne, Florida. The Dukes finished 12th place in the Classic, aided by a solid performance by Sasha Petrucco, who finished 2 under par with a score of 214 and collected 9 birdies in the competition. Other solid performances were Abby Slangster, who scored 231, and Lily Powell, who scored 246. The Dukes' next competition will be the NKU Spring Fling, which will take place from March 13th to 15th.
After dropping a 13-12 heartbreaker last Wednesday at Robert Morris, the Duquesne lacrosse team would have a week off before another road tilt this Wednesday at Mercyhurst. The Dukes entered the contest 4-0 all-time against Mercyhurst and would continue their dominance with a win in a 21-4 blowout. 9 different Dukes would score throughout the contest. Emma Raines would impress with 5 goals in this one, and Grayson Emerson had an eye-popping 7 assists. The Dukes would score a program record 9 goals in the first quarter and would hold a 13-1 advantage at half. The 7-1 run to finish the game would seal Duquesne's largest margin of victory since 2020. Big reasons were their 32-16 advantage in shots on goal and 20-6 advantage in faceoffs. The Dukes traveled to Butler for a 1 p.m. game on Sunday, their final tune-up before the start of A-10 play.
Last Wednesday, the women's basketball team lost 46-61 against St. Joseph. They continued their season Sunday against VCU. Our Brendan Flato has more on this story.
At the UPMC Cooper Fieldhouse, there was a chance to make a statement for 2 teams gearing up for the Atlantic 10 tournament, as VCU traveled to Pittsburgh for a matchup with Duquesne. Katrina Nesevich and the 8-20 Rams came in looking to make a statement against the sharp-shooting Mackenzie Blackford and the Dukes, who were 3-1 in their last 4. Alexis Bordas was unstoppable in this one for Duquesne. She scored 27 points and shot 7 for 9 from 3. This performance was good for her 8th 20-point game of the season. Following the game, Bordas talked about how she keeps going, even when she doesn't think she is shooting her best.
Honestly, I shot really bad in shoot-around, so guess I got all my misses out early. But all my teammates and coaches have been so encouraging, even when I have a bad shooting game. Like the last 2 games, I didn't shoot my best, so They've always been so encouraging though, and that just gives me confidence to keep shooting. And obviously I know I've put in enough work to be confident in myself and to take those shots.
Raina Green has also been key to the Duke's success lately. She is scoring the ball well, but most importantly, she is dominating the boards. After the game, I asked her about her mentality.
Randy, you've been grabbing a lot of offensive rebounds recently. What's kind of your mindset offensively in the rebound category?
To just attack. I mean, Coach Bell, Coach Burt, all the coaches are, that's one of our things that we're trying to emphasize is rebounding. And I decided to step up and take on that role. And yeah, that's it.
In the third quarter, Duquesne called a timeout. Following the timeout, Bordas hit a three. Then Blackford did as well. After the game, I asked Coach Dan Burt what the message was.
There in the third quarter, near the beginning of it, when the game was still kind of close, you guys had a timeout, and then Bordas came out of the timeout, hit a three, and then a little bit later, Mackenzie Blackford hit one on Bordas again. What's kind of the message during those timeouts?
It just depends on which timeout it was. With Mac, she was 0 for 7 to start, and for Mac, it was keep shooting. With Mac and Alexis, it's always shoot it. Now there might be a little correction: hold your follow through, don't hesitate, whatever mechanically or technique-wise that they may need to work on. But when those two are on, and they've been on more than they've been off over the last 4 or 5 games, we become a lot more difficult to stop.
Final from the UPMC Cooper Fieldhouse. The Dukes take down the Rams by a final score of 72-61. It was a dominating performance offensively for the Dukes. It was close at the halftime break and then a little bit there in the early third quarter, but then second half of the third quarter and the fourth, the Dukes really started to pull away. Bordas led all scorers with 27, and Raina Green led the Dukes with rebounds with 9, 5 of those offensive, which is huge for a team's offensive game if you have somebody who's dominating the offensive glass and giving you those second chance opportunities all the time. That's going to wrap it up here from the UPMC Cooper Fieldhouse. For the Voice of Duquesne Live, I'm Brennan Flato.
Let's get another inside look with Brendan Flato on the men's basketball game against LaSalle.
Inside the UPMC Cooper Fieldhouse, there's a classic PA rivalry. The ice-cold LaSalle Explorers made the trip across the turnpike for a battle with Terrence Ginyard and the flaming hot Duquesne Dukes. Justin Archer and the 7-19 Explorers were poised to battle with Jakob Netjes and the 16-10 Duquesne Dukes. In this one, Duquesne's three-point shot was colder than a frozen Allegheny River, with the team shooting just 3 for 20 from beyond the arc. Luckily for the Dukes, David Dixon was great again. He led the team in points and picked up his 74th career win as a Duke, the most in program history. Following the game, Coach Drew Joyce III started his opening statement of the press conference by thanking Dixon for what he has done for Duquesne.
I just want to publicly thank David Dixon. He's a genuine good person, man. Genuine good person. And those things, you guys get to see it show up on the court. I get to see it every day. The battles that he's overcome, right? He early in his years, he battled through injuries, right? I mean, you guys wouldn't believe some of the knees, both knees that he continued to play, right? Dave never, I won't say he never missed a game, but he never shut it down. When most guys in today's game would shut it down and opt for surgery, Dave just tried to figure out a way to make that happen, made it to the off season, right? And in return, he didn't have a lot of off season, didn't have those opportunities to work on his game and improve up until basically this past summer. He was healthy, and he puts a lot of time into his health. This guy shows up, and he's had just unbelievable success. We wouldn't be where we are as a program without just, like I said, his dedication and hard work. So big shout out to Dave.
With just a few seconds to go and Duquesne trailing by 1, Dixon grabbed the rebound, passed to Alex Williams, and then to Ginyard, who took it coast to coast for the win. Following the game, I asked Dixon and Coach Joyce about the internal clock that players have in that moment.
As a player, do you have like an internal clock of how long it takes you to get down the court in those kinds of situations and what kind of moves you can pull as you're going down the court?
That is a great question. I don't know. I think I actually got the rebound. I gave it to TJ, but it's okay. No, I think most players can get down the court in like maybe 3 to 4 seconds if you're running as fast as you can. But I don't know what kind of moves he was planning on doing. Probably just a little cross or just trying to get. I think he was just trying to get in front of people as fast as he could. So probably just a little push dribble, left to right.
You're asking the wrong guy.
I got handles a little bit. I was gonna use it. You know what I'm saying?
Final here from the UPMC Cooper Fieldhouse. The Dukes take down the Explorers by final score of 62-61. It was a game-winning layup from Terrence Ginyard right over here at this basket. Dave Dixon with the rebound. Found Terrence Ginyard. Ginyard went coast to coast against the full press and made a layup plus the foul. He would intentionally miss the foul shot, and Duquesne would win. But it was a great night here in the UPMC Cooper Fieldhouse. Great crowd. They really got into it there late. You heard the Let's Go Dukes chants in the final 2 minutes. You heard the crowd erupt as Ginyard went down the floor, made the layup to give Duquesne a much-needed win against LaSalle, who currently sits third to last in the Atlantic 10 standings. Duquesne, they were fourth. They're looking for that double bye heading into the Atlantic 10 tournament right across the street at PPG Paints Arena in March. But obviously a huge win. You'll take them any way you can get them. In the post-game press conference, Dave Dixon and Coach Drew Joyce spoke. Coach Drew Joyce opened it up, as we've heard earlier in this package, talking about the impact that Dave Dixon has on this Duquesne squad. He's the only player who's been here for all 4 years that's currently on the team, so definitely an impressive guy and a role model for the rest of the team to look after. For the Voice of Duquesne Live, I'm Brendan Flado.
The men's team went on to play at Dayton on Saturday. The team left with a 66-78 loss. Now, let's head over to Betsy Bodwin with this week's weather.
Thanks, guys. So this week we're obviously heading into spring break, but unfortunately we are seeing a little bit of lower temperatures compared to last week. We're still staying in the mid-50s-ish throughout the week, a little bit nicer temperatures, but obviously dropping a little bit. So Friday, it's going to be sunny, which is nice. High of 53, low of 27. Then we start spring break Saturday. It's going to be partially cloudy with a high of 54 and a low of 37. And then we go into Monday with a high of 36, a low of 20. Tuesday, it's going to be rainy, high of 44, low of 26. Then moving on to Wednesday, 45% chance of rain, high of 46, low of 30. And then Thursday, we got some thunderstorms, 35% chance of thunderstorms, high of 55 and low of 32. And now we're moving on to our friends in Rome. So Friday, they're a lot warmer than us here in Pittsburgh. Friday, it's going to be partially cloudy with a high of 64 and a low of 46. Saturday, again, a high of 64 but a low of 47. Sunday, it's going to be cloudy with a high of 63 and a low of 46. Moving into Monday, high of 64, low of 47. And then Tuesday, it's also going to be cloudy. Again, high of 65, low of 45. Wednesday, we got a high of 65, low of 45 again, but it's going to be only partially cloudy this day. And then Thursday, we have a high of 67 and a low of 48, and it's going to be cloudy. Now, our Dublin campus. Friday, we have about a 70% chance of rain with a high of 50, a low of 40. Saturday, we got a 60% chance of rain, high 49, low of high of 49, low of 36. Sunday, 90% chance of rain, high of 54, low of 49. Monday, 75% chance of rain, high of 51, low of 43. Tuesday, it's going to be partially cloudy, high of 50, low of 40. Wednesday, again, partially cloudy, high of 50, low of 39. And then Thursday, we got a 40% chance of rain, a high of 52, and a low of 43. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Betsy. Students at Duquesne University came together last Thursday at the Union Night Spot for an eco-friendly event hosted by Out in Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics, OSTEM, and the Ecology Club. The Bonsai Trees and Suncatchers event gave students the chance to plant bonsai trees and decorate stained glass, blending art with environmental awareness. The collaboration was based on shared values of inclusion, community, and sustainability. Ecology Club President Caroline Ellis explained that both groups wanted to create a welcoming space where students could connect while also learning about environmental responsibility. The event also highlighted the connection between environmental justice and creating inclusive spaces around campus. Throughout the evening, students explored sustainability in simple, hands-on ways by using recycled materials and participating in creative projects. Creativity shows that sustainability doesn't have to feel restrictive, and it can be empowering and fun, Ellis said. The event emphasized the importance of belonging. Organizers hope participants left with a fun plant and meaningful takeaways. I hope students walk away feeling that their individual actions matter, Ellis said, encouraging students to make positive changes in ways they live their everyday lives. Students can check out Campus Link and the Ecology Club Instagram for more upcoming events.
Now, let's head over to our pop culture to keep you in the know.
Hi, my name's Kylie,
I'm Betsy.
and we're here for another pop culture recap. Halen's a little sick today.
Unfortunately, we're missing it.
Halen's a little sick, so we
I'm
got Betsy here
today.
today. Very exciting.
I'm so excited to be here today.
I'm really excited to have you here today for
Thank you.
another pop culture recap. Unfortunately, with all the excitement, it's not that exciting of a topic we're covering this
No.
week. Unfortunately, TV star Eric Dane passed away on, what day was it?
Last Thursday.
Last Thursday from ALS.
ALS, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was very public. Like it was good. He was an advocate about it. He was very open about it and open to finding, I don't believe there's a cure. He was very open to like awareness and stuff like that. And he's very public about it, which was kind of a good thing, making people aware of it.
It was also surprising to a lot of people because it hadn't even been a year since he was
just under a year.
Just under a year since he announced his diagnosis. So it was very quickly progressing too.
Yeah.
Just very unfortunate. He was best known for two big roles. Best known, I would say his biggest role would be Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, for sure. He was there for 6 seasons, season 3 through season 9.
And he played Mark Sloan, who...
That was my favorite character. I loved him so much. Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And then he was also in Euphoria, which is a very popular show right now. They're actually about to release season 3. And he played Nate Jacobs.
Oh, was he in it then?
Dad. I think I heard that he was in it. They filmed like a wedding scene. He was talking about it in an interview, I believe. And he was talking about there's a wedding scene he was in, so people are like, oh my gosh, he was at least able to finish season 3 before he passed.
Oh, that's gonna be really sad when that comes out then. Wow. No, so
he was a great character in Grey's Anatomy. He's also just a great actor in general.
He was a great actor, yeah.
He had like a lot of roles that had like the big dialogues and stuff like that, and had like the big turning point moments, and I feel like he played it very well.
And they're very like strong personality characters too, and they're like you compare his two big roles, Mark Sloan, what's his name? Cal
Jacobs.
Jacobs. They're very different people, I'd say.
Yeah, they're very much both like very headstrong people, I'd say, but they still have their own like differences and everything for sure.
Oh yeah, but he was very good at getting into those roles and just bringing a lot of people a lot of entertainment. So a lot of people are really upset. Obviously, it's not a.
Yeah, I was very disappointed. He's my favorite character in Grey's Anatomy.
I know.
I was contemplating to stop watching it after he was off the show.
Yeah, I've heard people say that too. That and Derek Shepherd.
Yeah, both of them were a really big part of Grey's Anatomy.
Patrick
They were
Dempsey.
the duo, McSteamy and McDreamy.
McSteamy and McDreamy, that's right.
Yeah, Eric played McSteamy. Yeah, it was, I don't know if this is a spoiler now still, but it was this, I was telling my sister, I was talking to her about it, I was like, I had to watch it. It feels like I had to watch him die twice because he died in Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
And then now I have to deal with like the actual
Real life,
actor. Yeah.
No, it's very sad. It's very sad. And I think they released a video that he recorded for his
documentary.
Kids or the documentary or something.
I think he was in like a documentary something filming for Netflix, I believe.
Yeah. I don't know, there was something that they released and it was him talking to, I believe, his kids or his family.
Yeah,
it was just very sad. But he did put up a really big fight.
Yeah, he did.
He did, a very big fight.
And even though he lost the battle, like I was saying earlier, it's so important that he was an advocate for it and brought so much awareness to it and the fact that it doesn't have a cure.
Yeah, so
That was a little bit unfortunate, obviously.
it was extremely unfortunate.
Yeah.
So if you know somebody who was a big Eric Dane fan like Betsy here, offer them your support in upcoming days because they suffered a big loss. I mean, obviously his family too. But
Yeah.
the TV industry as a whole suffered a big loss.
And he was only
week.
53, I
Only
believe.
50 That's very young. Yeah.
Yeah. So probably had a bunch of roles ahead of him, so that was
Yeah.
disappointing, but
Very upsetting.
yeah.
I don't know what else to say, so
Neither do I.
not as happy of a topic for this week, but it happens, stuff happens, and I hope you guys have a good spring break, and we'll see you after the break.
See you after the break.
Back to you guys in the studio.
On Friday, February 20th, Major League Baseball and Pittsburgh Pirate legend Bill Mazeroski passed away. Now, let's take a deep dive into his life with our Brendan Flato.
On February 20th, 2026, Bill Mazeroski, MLB and Pittsburgh Pirates legend, suddenly passed away. Bill Mazeroski was best known for his glove, playing every season with the Pirates and solidifying himself as one of the best second basemen in MLB history. But what he might be most known for is his Game 7 walk-off home run to win the Pirates the World Series. It is the only home run of its kind.
Art Ditmar throws. Here's a swing and a high fly ball going deep to left. If they do it. Back to the wall goes Barra. It is home run. Home run. The Pirates win.
Of course, the seventh game of the 1960 World Series when he hit the home run, and my mother and dad were actually at the game. They won a lottery, and they got tickets to the seventh game of the World Series against the Yankees, and everybody laughed at them and said, there's not going to be a seventh game. But they were there sitting in the bleachers, and everlasting memory, and we dented all my mother's pans up on the avenue after the game, banging them together.
Mazeroski played 17 seasons in the big leagues, all with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he was a native of Wheeling, West Virginia, which is nearby Pittsburgh. He earned a ton of gold gloves during his career, and in 2001, he was inducted into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame.
He had a trick. You know, he has a record for the most double plays in the majors, but he would never catch the ball at second base. He would trap it on the back of his glove. That's how he had the quick release to first base.
We just heard how Bill Mazeroski changed the double play forever with a little trick that looked like this. It's where you catch the ball on the back of your glove so you can turn the double play even faster, because every half second matters when the runner's running down the baseline. And that's why Bill Mazeroski was the greatest double play turner in baseball history. Outside the right field gate at PNC Park sits a Bill Mazeroski statue commemorating his legendary home run. Fans have been coming to this statue all day to pay homage to the baseball great. Bill the Glove Mazeroski was 89 years old. For the Voice of Duquesne Live, I'm Brendan Flato.
Thanks, Brendan. Now in SGA. The Student Government Association is working to create an Uber partnership to help students with costs to travel around the city. The SGA election is right around the corner. Election day is March 18th. Be sure to vote. And remember, this is for Senate seats also. The newest addition to the campus organizations is Duquesne Catholic Medical Association Student Chapter, which will foster a community of Catholic and faithful students in the College of Medicine. Complaints are also currently being addressed about DUPO and public safety regarding facilities and maintenance. All SGA Senate meetings are open to the public and encourage public forums so that students can be heard.
The city of Pittsburgh has spent months preparing to host the 2026 NFL Draft. Our Brendan Flato has more with the story.
It's currently 61 days and 55 days from when you're watching this video until the NFL draft takes over the North Shore and downtown Pittsburgh. The draft itself will take place in the shadows of Acrisure Stadium right behind you, while events for tourists will take place at the Point and Market Square. The NFL draft is one of the biggest tourism events the NFL puts on all year. The NFL is expecting a crowd anywhere between 500,000 and 700,000 people to come to the North Shore for this event, with 11 NFL markets being in driving distance. This comes after last year's NFL draft in Green Bay saw approximately 600,000 visitors. Behind me is where the set of the NFL draft stage will be. On the stage, they will call all the picks, there will be special performances, and basically everything in line with the draft will happen on the stage right behind me. And right here is where NFL fans from across the world will come to watch the draft. In the past, the NFL has set their stage in front of the stadium, like it will be at Acrisure Stadium. But in other places like Philadelphia, they use the Parkway through Center City. They could hold a ton of fans and set their stage up right in the middle to feel in the city. For more on how the NFL draft will affect local downtown businesses, check back soon. From the site of the 2026 NFL Draft, I'm Brendan Flato.
Thanks, Brendan. This past Friday, Duquesne Program Council hosted Campus Comedy Night with Saturday Night Live in the Union Ballroom. Students and faculty on campus experienced the show with current and past writers and cast members of Saturday Night Live. The performers included Chloe Trost, Alex Kagi, Sierra O'Sullivan, Asha Ward, and current Season 51 cast member Tommy Brennan. During the event, they performed never-before-seen sketches, did improv, stand-up comedy, talked about their experience with the show, and hosted a Q&A. Before the event, food and drinks were served, including street tacos, popcorn, Dippin' Dots, and mocktails. Each student ticket purchase included 2 raffle tickets, giving the students the opportunity to enter in giveaway packages, such as a movie night package and many others. Sophomore Ella Solberg said, "It was so cool to see people who have been on television and were just talking casually about their time working on the show and even their time with celebrity guests like Timothée Chalamet and Bad Bunny." You can follow Duquesne Program Council on Instagram at DUQ_DPC to stay updated on their upcoming events for this school year.
Sean Mannion is an adjunct professor here at Duquesne, but that's not all he does. Off campus, he's an entrepreneur and co-founder of a company, to name a few of his titles. Let's head over to Sean himself to learn some more.
Hello, my name is Sean Mannion. I am an adjunct faculty member in the psychology department. I'm teaching Intro to Psychology as a Human Science this semester. I'm doing some research on the history of phenomenology and cybernetics. But I also have a small business that I've started with a colleague of mine, Chris Rockwell. He's a Duquesne graduate right here in Pittsburgh. We saw a challenge with science, I should say. I'm a neuroscientist by training. I spent a long time working with the U.S. government, part of the Department of Defense as a civilian, overseeing traumatic brain injury research and post-traumatic stress disorder research. We saw a lot of challenges trying to get stuff bench to bedside, get ideas moved into the clinic, and get science into a actionable knowledge that we could use in society. So with that knowledge, I started exploring new technologies, some stuff like blockchain technology, which is a technology that underlies cryptocurrency, if you've heard of that, Bitcoin. But we don't focus on that so much as how it can work as a shared governance structure and shared system for knowledge sharing and tracking the provenance or where data came from. And then also artificial intelligence, which many people have heard of now, and how those automations can be used for better science, but also how we can get more scientists involved in creating something better than the large language models that we have today. Sciences sometimes need a little more specificity than what you get with those publicly available large language models. And so working with Chris, we developed Praxis Science, which is aimed towards technology for scientists by scientists. So we've been working on that since last year, had some events to bring, unfortunately, the disrupted scientists, many people who lost their jobs or were unsure about the future, together in events to hear about what they needed and what they wanted to see from technology. And now we've developed a few different models beta testing some things. Chris actually is a graduate student at Robert Morris University, and this past Friday was able to come in first in the hackathon here at Duquesne, held by the Greffenstedt Center. And so with some of the tech that we're developing, with some of the process and network that we're developing, we're trying to create better technology for science so everyone can get more science and improve their well-being in the world. That's taken me some interesting places, exploring the intersection of tech and science. We get to go to UK next month. We'll be speaking at an event at Parliament, the British Blockchain Association, on how these technologies can be applied, how something like the audit layer of blockchain technology can serve as guardrails for understanding what data goes into the AI that we utilize. So it's not a black box, it's not a mystery. We don't have hallucinations and mistakes working their way into clinical care. And instead of being afraid of these technologies or using them without proper constraints or proper safety checks, we're able to use them in an effective and safe way. I think that is coming around, not just our company, we're part of a much broader ecosystem. And in the next 5 to 10 years, we'll start to see a whole wide array of applications. We're already starting, but I think that some of the clinical validations and some of the scientific validations that we need are not yet there. I hope it makes money, of course. Having a business that makes money is always nice, but I'm actually pretty happy to be back in an academic environment, having been in government, having been in business, having now returned to academia. I think all three serve a role, and I like being here. Duquesne is a pretty amazing place. Had some great conversations with people in many different schools here, students and administrators and professors alike, on how to use these technologies. And I think Duquesne has a unique, call it ethical, moral, spiritual grounding in being able to set a foundation for better technology, in more human-focused technology and more purposeful technology. And so I really hope to be part of that, both in the business world and also in the academic world. So happy to be here.
Pittsburgh has been known as a melting pot of immigrant cultures, and Tuesday's symposium in the Power Center highlighted just how deep those community roots go. President Gormley hosted a knowledgeable panel discussion covering the iconic pierogies of Eastern European settlers to the historic jazz scene of the Hill District. Through student stories and spirited conversation, the city's rich heritage was proudly presented through its food, music, and dance. The event also showcased that the city's story doesn't end in the past, as new generations and recent immigrants from places like Latin America continue to add their own vibrant threads to the region's cultural tapestry. Voice of Duquesne Live was there to bring you an inside look on the special gathering that celebrates the diverse neighborhoods, traditions, and resilient people who make Pittsburgh truly unique.
One of the reasons that I've wanted to do a program like this for years, actually, is that the ethnic traditions of various neighborhoods and communities in Pittsburgh has been one of the things that we celebrate the most. It binds us together here, but we rarely stop to think about where those traditions come from and their significance to the people who carry them forward. So as older generations disappear, new generations, including all of you students, risk losing that important piece of who we are as a city, as a region. And a lot of this, let's be honest, starts with food. Everyone knows about pierogies, especially because of the pierogi races at the Pirate Games, with Potato Pete, Jalapeno Hannah, and other stars like that. But why is it that Pittsburgh has come to be identified with pierogies? And how do these customs and traditions go much deeper and really represent things that we have to preserve as a community? So
I think no matter where your origins are, whether it's Africa or Ireland or Italy or wherever, when you're forced or when you decide to move to a new place, you want to bring something with you, and that's food. And I think all of the traditions, that's one of the there's a lot of people being very unkind about immigrants at this moment, but they add so much to our culture. And, you know, I say, have these people never been to a restaurant? Because the food in America is so enriched by all kinds of traditions.
Where did the whole idea of French fries on sandwiches at Permanis come from? Does that have anything to do with us being here in Pittsburgh and mill towns and all of that?
Well, I've always heard that was the result of truck drivers who came to the strip either to load or unload produce, and that they wanted to be able to get something that they could take with them back in the cab of the truck. And if you put that all together, you know, you could put the fries and the slaw on the sandwich. And
let's talk about the nationality rooms in the Cathedral of Learning that you do such a wonderful job with. How did they come about? They're iconic here in Pittsburgh. I grew up here and went there since I was a little kid. And how do they still tell the stories of the communities that built and are still at the heart of our city here?
So I'll share that the mission is sharing stories of regional ethnic communities, past and present, through inspirational spaces and intercultural experiences. So the inspirational spaces are the rooms. They came about when the Cathedral of Learning was being built in the 1920s. At the time, there was a lecturer, Ruth Crawford Mitchell. She was a sociologist, and she was really interested in her second-generation students, so students of immigrant families. And it was Ruth Crawford Mitchell who gave the idea to the chancellor at the time, John Bowman, to reach out to these ethnic communities and ask them to fundraise.
My great-grandfather came to the United States over 100 years ago. He had fled his home in Ukraine after the Communist Revolution, and he, like many others, was coming to the United States for a better life. And like the many thousands of other Ukrainian immigrants who came before and after him, he chose Pittsburgh to start that new life. More often than not, when I would sleep over at my grandmother's, we would wake up early in the morning to start our pierogi making. And mostly she just let me watch. But as I watched her, I learned not just how to make the pierogi and pinch them together, but the stories that she would tell me of her father and her life here in Pittsburgh during what was the height of the steel era.
Hello, everyone. I would just like to start out by thanking President Gormley for having us and the entirety of the panel. We are truly honored to be here and to bring Croatian culture to the stage today.
My name is Dimitri Bushno. I'm a proud senior here at Duquesne. I am also a dancer, vocalist, but I am also found in our combo corner because we're a live stage show. We're actually very honored to be able to call ourselves the longest running live stage show in America. If we could be described in 3 words, they would be scholarship, tradition, and performance.
coming here to find work and to find, you know, a new life was so crucial that, you know, all of these things, you know, came into play. And I'm not sure that there's an easy answer to, like...
Right, but, you know, the industry is that pull factor across the board, and regardless of what ethnic group you come from here, it's that opportunity to come and work, and work in many cases in a completely otherworldly, very dangerous situation, but it gave people an opportunity to achieve something that they couldn't have achieved back home. And that's, you know, chance for the American dream, to better your life. So, you know, folks were coming here and being put in really dire situations, working, you know, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and every other Sunday doing a 24-hour shift. But you do that because there's that hope and there's that dream. Yeah, I just think about when people come to this region as tourists, which as a Pittsburgh native is still very striking to me. If people come to Pittsburgh for vacation, I mean, you know, it's kind of like, you do? But we get a lot of them from all over the world, and what we are told across the board is not just what a beautiful city it is, but what a culturally rich city it is, and how diverse it is, and how alive it is.
Yeah. Well, this has been a lot of fun today, and before we open the doors to our great ethnic food festival in there, first, a big thank you to our wonderful panelists who have done such a great job. Also, to all of our wonderful performers who joined us today, and Miguel, of course. And then finally, I'd like to ask to come up Dr. John Mitchum from the History Department and the inaugural Labriola chair holder. But I want to say, folks, John has just done a marvelous job planning this program and executing it. It has exceeded my expectations.
Thank you, President Gormley. We originally had 6 performers. We've run out of time, so I'm not going to be able to pull out my harmonica. So with that, thank you again to our panelists, presenters. This concludes the presentation part of the symposium, but it's not over yet. Next door is what I suspect the vast bulk of you will find as the best reception that you've ever been to at Duquesne, with an entire cornucopia of feasts. So please do join me next door. Thank you again, and we will see you next year.
Now from Provost Dossey's Academic Insights. Last semester, the Office of Community Engagement held its annual Southside Cleanup, pairing Duquesne students with local residents in an effort to build community and remove trash around the city. Faculty are encouraged to invite their students to sign up for the next Southside Cleanup scheduled for April 18th. Duquesne University will host the 44th Annual Phenomenology Symposium on March 26th to the 27th, featuring Professor Marcy Shore of the University of Toronto. This year's theme, Phenomenological Encounters in Dark Times, will explore how phenomenology can inform contemporary political discourse amid national uncertainty. The symposium includes 2 in-person seminars and a public lecture offered both in person and via live stream. Registration for the seminars is available by emailing phenomenology@duke.edu, while registration for the public lecture can be completed at duke.edu/phenomenology symposium. I'm Kylie Crocus.
I'm Brendan Doherty. We hope you have a great spring break.